Be careful of the words you speak today on the Landlord Coach Daily Ish Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Landlord Coach Daily Ish Show. It is Monday, just coming out of the weekend. I hope you all had an awesome weekend. It's been quite a couple of days. I'm not even going to talk about the stuff that everybody else is talking about. So let's talk about other stuff. Let's talk about beware of the idle words you speak. And I think this is a really good topic, especially for many of us who are starting out the new year, right? New year, new you. And this is something that, oh yeah, I'm going au naturel today. Yeah, I'm just, I figure I don't know. I didn't feel like putting up the screen. So anyway, so I hope you all had an awesome weekend. So be careful of the idle words you speak. This is a message that I had a friend challenge me the other day, and I often will say hello to both of my viewers out there, right? I know you guys have heard me say that before. And to all of you who are joining me, hello, welcome, and tell me where you're coming from, because I always like to hear from you. Reconnected with some people I haven't talked to in quite a while, so it's always good to hear from you. And we'll chat to you here in just a little bit. But the interesting thing that this person challenged me, tearing into me a little bit about why I say that, why are you saying both viewers, why are you minimizing your show and everything else and all that? And anybody that knows me knows, like truly knows me, knows that it's like, maybe an attempt at some self-deprecating humor, and I'll be honest with you, and this is maybe just a little bit more of me overcompensating, because I know that I can be perceived, and there's probably more than likely some truth to it, that I can be a little self-righteous. I know this about myself. So I don't want the perception to be out there that, that I'm being that way, right? So of course I just put that out there, and maybe to overcompensate for me, again, appearing to be self-righteous. And again, the perception is reality. I don't feel like I'm being that way, but again, if that's someone's perception, of course, then that's the reality. So his point was well taken, though. Because of the idle words that I was saying, like, hey, welcome to both of my viewers, right? Like right now, there's at any one given time, sometimes right now there's 4 viewers. Hello, everybody. It's nice to see you. And sometimes that'll get up to 10 and go back to 2 or 3, right? That's just the nature of these live videos that happens. But, I don't want anybody I certainly don't want to ever turn anybody off because of how I'm putting out the message, right? So I guess it was some attempt at self-deprecating humor when I would say, hey, welcome to both of my viewers out there. But the reality is I have a lot more than that. But his point was well taken, because if I'm speaking idle words like that, it's really easy to speak words like that into existence, so, but it's also a measure of authenticity. If I said, hey, welcome to my 10,000 viewers out there, and realistically, I'm nowhere near that. It's also a little bit of bullshit going on, right? I mean, in this day and age, I think people are just dying for some authenticity, just dying for, just tell me what the truth is. Just let me peek back behind the curtain and see what that really looks like, right? In this Facebook world, we all have, we all have these Facebook pretty lifestyles. And you're like, man, look at that lifestyle that they're living. And meanwhile, on the backside of it, it's a complete disaster. Okay. So I guess that's maybe why I was, saying those sorts of things. But again, he's true. It's 100% right, is that, you got to be careful about the stuff that you're saying out loud and speaking that stuff into existence, because, it's one of those things where, I don't believe in coincidence anymore. I believe in providence. And I was rereading this one book, which I don't think I have it handy. I think it's my bag, but I was rereading this one book. It's called The Game of Life and How to Play It. And I won't remember the author's name. It's an old book. It was printed in 1925. And of course, I've got a reprint of it. And it's just a thin book. It's like, 90 something pages. But it is, one of the things that's in there is about speaking things into existence and being careful what you speak into existence. Even if it's something that you think is positive, it may come to you in a way that's not positive, right? I mean, let's say for argument's sake that, God forbid, that you want a certain sum of money. Okay, well, that certain sum of money comes, you're like, oh, what a blessing, but it comes at a very heavy cost, right? You can fill in the blank any number of ways. I'm not going to speak anything into existence, but you understand where that could come, right? Like you could maybe win the lottery, but it's at an expense of, of your health, right? You find out you win the lottery, but then find out you have, a terminal illness or something along those lines, right? Like stuff like that happens all the time. So it has to come to you in a divine way, and that was just a neat book, and certainly takes and stretches just your mind and certainly your faith in directions that I hadn't really experienced in a while, but a really good book. So as I'm reading through this book, it was talking about idle words, ironically enough, and being careful about the idle words that you say. So let's say, for argument's sake, that you have a goal for this year of wanting to lose 30 pounds, and you are praying and planning. You're expecting the best, right? But you're planning for the worst. Well, what it says is you're going to get what you plan for, not what you expect. And I was like, man, that is so true. Like, how many times do I personally, I'm praying for all these good things to happen and I'm anticipating all these good things to happen, but yet I'm still planning for the worst to happen. So as a result, I get somewhere in the middle. I never get the full amount of success that I feel that I deserve and that I'm working hard for. And, no one could rightfully take away from me because they're like, yeah, you worked your ass off for that, right? If all I'm doing is sitting around expecting it to come to me, then no, of course that's different. But if I'm working hard and doing all the things in alignment, but yet still planning for the worst, that doesn't make any sense, right? So it was really interesting, just a really interesting thought, when I was reading, and that's from the book, Playing the Game of Life. So anyway, now I do, even though I am acknowledging when I say, being aware of the idle words that I speak, even though I acknowledge both of my viewers as an attempt to be funny and to stay humble, the reality is different. So, when I first got real serious about having this as a show, and, part of the reason why I didn't want to do a weekly show is realistically, I know I wouldn't do it consistently. I might do it some days on Thursdays, some days on Fridays, whatever. And in today's day, it really doesn't matter that much. I mean, if you're going to do a show, it really doesn't matter when you put it out there. Obviously, they talk about consistency, but I also knew that if I was going to do and commit to a daily show, that was sometimes I just can't do it. Like Thursday and Friday of this week, I'm going to be part of a mastermind group that's in St. Louis, so I can't do a show there, right? And I can't do I can't do it right. I mean, I suppose I could do it anywhere, but I know that my brain power is going to be directed and focused on that room, and it wouldn't be fair to anybody else in that room if I split my attention. So I won't be doing a show Thursday and Friday. Okay. So some of your prayers have been answered. But kidding aside, I wanted to do a show that was for real estate investors and maybe anybody that was interested in real estate investing. But I didn't want to do a show that was something that everybody else was already doing. There's lots of real estate gurus out there giving advice and doing all these, I mean, there's no shortage of stuff like that. Especially very tactical, narrow advice about what to do if a tenant does this or what to, I mean, it's all these different tactical advice things, right? I'm more of a strategic thinker. That's naturally where the air is breathable for me. I like to think big picture, looking at 40,000 feet and looking down. That's where I feel most comfortable. Now I can get granular if I need to, but for me, I think there's a lack of strategic facing shows out there for the real estate investor. Now, I also wanted to share some personal stories because sometimes I recognize a lot of people who see this show A lot of my friends, a lot of people who are connected, they're military people, they're friends from high school. They know me in very different contexts. Okay. That, just maybe just share some stories that they might be interested in, that they might have had a part in. Right. But here's the thing. Since I got really serious about doing the show and doing it more consistently and being serious, you got to understand what being serious about that is, about any business enterprise. I don't care if you're doing real estate, if you have a podcast, or you're selling bottles of whatever's left of Mona V out of the trunk of your car. Okay, if anybody remembers Mona V, go ahead and put your hand up because that was terrible stuff. It was like really expensive bottles of grape juice. But if you're doing anything like that, you have to know your numbers and you have to track your numbers if you're going to be serious about any business. Okay. So as it turns out, those idle words I was speaking, when I was referencing both my viewers, they weren't true. They just flat out weren't true. Reality is, on any given video, I have 300 plus views in the first 24 hours just on Facebook alone. And within the last 6 months, I don't know the exact numbers offhand, but my YouTube audience doubled, and I just broke 100 subscribers on YouTube, and on and on and on. So the reality is it wasn't true. And I was minimizing my subscribers that were there, that did see value, and I was wrong. So it was really interesting that I got challenged on that, being careful of the idle words, because here's the biggest thing. And as I relate to that book that I was talking about, being careful of the idle words that I speak, because it's not just my subconscious that's listening. It's my subscribers that are listening too. So I really appreciate my friends reaching out and holding me accountable to some things that weren't entirely nonsense. But Richard Penn, yes, even monkey business does need to be tracked. Really, Richard? Seriously? That's what you come up with? Okay, Navigator. Yes. And then Keith Anderson, my friend from high school, you mean we all can't just be instant millionaires if we just buy a coaching program? Well, I suppose. I don't know. I mean, that's up to you. But I know that there's a lot of coaching programs that do promise a lot of stuff based on significance and certainty and things like that. And and the one that drives me absolutely bananas, I won't say his name because if you're not in the real estate space, it won't matter, but you'll know who I'm talking about. But and I don't know why it bugs me so much, but I was talking about this today with my marketing people, but he's very notorious for, like, he'll take like a check and he holds it like right up to the camera so you can see like all the digits on the check, and it's like, I don't know, like 38,000, 400,000, whatever. And it's just a check at closing. So that does not mean that's what he made. That's just what he got at closing. So of course there's, he probably still has to pay his subcontractors out of that money. He probably has to pay, whatever other costs that he has. That does not mean that that's the money that you made. That's just the money that's hitting the bank account. That does not mean that's the money that you get to keep. And it drives me absolutely bananas, but he's notorious for doing real estate ads like that. And they're really, really successful. I mean, people get drawn in by it. I get drawn in by it. And I'm still like, oh, this is so creepy. Yet I'm like, oh man, I'm going to click on that ad because I just want to see what it's about. But it's relating to people's need for significance, right? They want to feel important. They want that money. That's certainly a big motivating factor for a lot of people. So anyway, well, that's all I have for today. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. This is a great quote. I love this, by Mary J. Blige. Negative words are powerful boomerangs, so be careful what you say about people and yourself. Awesome words. All right, everybody, that's all I have for today. Please be sure to place a value on your free time, because if you don't, someone else will. But remember, no amount of money will make time irrelevant. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you next time. Take good care.